Welcome back to Gamer Night. I'm your host, G.A.M.E.R here, and welcome back to another video. Today, we're going to be taking a look at all the big video game releases happening in April of 2024. This is a video that we've been doing for a little while now, even though I did miss the last 2 months. I know, I do apologize for that, but if you didn't watch my most recent channel update video, we're bringing it back, and we're hopefully we're going to stay consistent throughout the rest of the year. Therefore, we're going to go ahead and we're going to talk about April because there are quite a few games releasing in April that I am interested in personally, and just some games I think you should know about heading into April because they're either A, big, or B, I think they just look really good, and I really want to bring attention to some of those games. And therefore, let's go ahead and get talking about it. But real quick, if you do enjoy these type of videos, make sure you leave a like, comment down below what games are you excited for, and if you would, please consider subscribing. It would really help me out a lot. But with that said, let's start talking about the games. First one I'm going to be talking about is one that isn't necessarily officially releasing in April, but people will be able to play it in April if you so choose so, and that is No Rest for the Wicked. Now, this is easily in my top 5, maybe top 6, I don't know, most anticipated games of the year, and just period. Like in general, out of every game announced in the world, this is easily one of my most anticipated games because it is coming from the studio Moon Studios. And if you don't know Moon Studios, they are the developers behind some of my favorite game, or one of my favorite games, Ori and the Will of the Wisp. It is just an absolutely phenomenal Metroidvania and a beautiful game, and it looks like they're completely returning to that with No Rest for the Wicked. It is beautiful, stunning, amazing art style, and just looks super duper fun. Now, they are taking a bit of a genre change with this entry, being a more ARPG, top-down isometric type game, sort of like Diablo in vein, but I think this game looks fantastic. Everything we've seen of the game is just sticking out to me as what I want from Moon Studios. It looks like it has in-depth combat. It looks satisfying. It looks like it has great RPG systems. It is beautiful, of course, as you'd expect with Moon Studios, and it just looks like it's going to be a polished, brilliant experience from start to finish, and I cannot be more excited to play this game with early access starting April 18th. I am so looking forward for No Rest for the Wicked. Definitely expect to see more content on this game on the channel very soon. So the next game is possibly gonna be the most controversial release of the month, and that's because Xbox is releasing one of their exclusives to Nintendo and PlayStation platforms, being Grounded. Now, this is one of my favorite Xbox games to come out this generation, and honestly, just of the last decade. What Obsidian Entertainment was able to do with this live service idea of being a backyard survival game is just so good, and they executed it so brilliantly. It has been a game that I've continuously played with friends and by myself. It is just a wonderful game to play, and it is on Game Pass, but they have announced that it is coming to Nintendo and PlayStation platforms in 2024, and it is happening this month in April, and people are finally going to be able to play Grounded if you don't have an Xbox. And this is going to open up for the community to get much bigger and open the audience to what Xbox can really bring when it comes to games, because I really do think this is one of Xbox's best games to release, and I think this is going to be a great showcase of the creativity and skill that the first-party studios have, especially when it comes to Obsidian Entertainment. So we have an early access game, a port to other platforms. Let's talk about a DLC releasing this month, and that is coming from Square Enix and coming from Final Fantasy 16. That is right, Final Fantasy 16 released last year, 2023, in June, and since then has gotten 1 DLC, this Rising Tide being the second DLC releasing this month. And I'm sure if you loved Final Fantasy 16, this is something you were definitely looking forward to. I have to say, with the trailer that I've seen, it looks really, really great. I think, like right there, the shot you are watching right now is just absolutely incredible. I think that the first DLC, something Echoes, I don't exactly remember what it was called, was a really good DLC from what I've heard. I haven't played it because unfortunately I was not the biggest fan of Final Fantasy 16, but I know there are a lot of players out there who love this game, and I'm sure the DLC is going to be worth picking up, especially when it looks this good like what we are seeing right now. It looks like you're going to be getting some new elements when it comes to your icons, and it looks like you're going to be getting some new boss battles, some new story content, and all of that good stuff when it comes to Final Fantasy 16. So if you do love this game, like I know a lot of people do, it is a great game. Definitely give this one a try. Make sure to keep it on the back of your radar, because don't sleep on DLC. Sometimes DLCs can be game changing. So Rising Tide, Final Fantasy 16, coming out this month. Now we're going to get to the first official game releasing in April of 2024, and this is an interesting one. This is Tales of Kenzara ZAU. I don't know how to pronounce it. I'm going to guess it's like Zao or Za. I don't exactly know, but Tales of Kenzara ZAU is releasing this month. It is an EA original game, and this is the debut game of a brand new studio. And this is a bit of an interesting one, because the way I became interested in this game was not even just the first trailer. It was the way this game was presented. The guy who came out at the Game Awards and announced that he started a new studio and was making his first game gave a really emotional story behind why he wanted to make games, and it really is just the DNA of why I love video games. The reason he wanted to make it was to honor his dad and to really show a lot of his culture and love that he found in video games, and this is his project that he came out with. That being said, I do think the trailer looks really good. It really reminds me of the recently released Prince of Persia: The Lost Crown game, but I do imagine it is going to be something of its own breed, and I do think it looks really good visually, gameplay wise. I don't really know what's going on story wise, but what I will say is that, in my opinion, EA has been dropping bangers after bangers after bangers. They have been dropping a lot of great games in recent years. I think people are kind of sleeping on them just because of their live service mess that they used to have, and their constant sports games. But I think EA has been delivering great games for a while now, and I think this is going to be another one, even though it is on the smaller scale, and it hopefully, and I really hope this one brings in a lot of success for them, because I really do love the idea. I love the story behind it, and I do think it looks quite fun. So I'm definitely looking forward to playing this one. And the good thing is, this game was just announced to be going into PlayStation Plus on day one. So you're really, if you have PlayStation Plus, you're not even gonna have to buy the game. The day it comes out, you can hop on your PlayStation, download it, and get going. So definitely big things there, and I'm really excited to give this game a try. I hope it lives up to what it looks like. Now this next game is not to be taken lightly. If you want to play this game, you need to prepare yourselves. You need to put on a vest. You need to sharpen your sword, because you are going ready for a brutal experience, because another Crab's Treasure is finally releasing this month, April. I am so excited for this game. Now, the reason I said all that stuff is because, believe it or not, this is a Souls game. And if you don't know what a Souls game is, Souls games are the hardest, most brutal, most challenging games there are out there. And another Crab's Treasure, while it may look kid friendly and it might have like a fun little animation art style, it seems to be an absolute pain fest. But at the same time, that is also why I think it looks so good. I think the weird blend of the kid friendly and the obviously challenging Soulsborne is going to be a great combo, and I think it's going to be really good. From what we've seen, the gameplay looks so solid. The world and just the atmosphere looks really cute. And I just really do think this is going to be a fun game that it's going to be a kind of like a breath of fresh air, if I can say it correctly. And yeah, I do think this is going to be a fun game, and definitely keep an eye on. Don't sleep on it just because of the way it looks or just because of the name, Another Crab's Treasure. It's funny, and I think that's what they're going for, and it is coming to Xbox Game Pass day one, so you're not even going to have to buy it if you have Xbox Game Pass. This is going to be a huge game to play when it comes out, and I do think this is going to be a big hit. I think this is going to be a surprising big hit for a lot of people. This next game is going to be really special for a lot of people because this is a project coming from the legendary Akira Toriyama, who unfortunately recently passed away. He is the creator of Dragon Ball, in my opinion, the biggest name to ever come out of anime, and he's bringing us one last new project, as far as I know, and that being a game of Sandland. Now, this is personally not a game I'm personally interested in. I'm not really the biggest anime fan, to be honest with you, but this is going to be a big release for a lot of people just because of the absolute legendary artist that Akira Toriyama is. And I know, honestly, it does look good. There was a lot of aspects of it that I think look promising. The art style, of course, being just great, but I think some of the gameplay and ideas of the world and enemies and vehicles like you see there just look really, really cool. It almost looks like a Mad Max meets anime type thing, and I think that's really interesting. I don't know exactly how this game is going to play out. I don't know critically how well it's going to be recepted. I've heard there have been previews a long time ago that were pretty high on it, but as of recent previews, there were some concerns that come out of it. But I do think, just knowing how big this game is now because of recent events, I do think this is going to be one to pay attention to and look out for, because it could make a big splash heading into April. But of course, the biggest game releasing in April this year is going to be Stellar Blade. Now, this is the next big PlayStation 5 exclusive. It's not first party from PlayStation. We're really not getting any of those for a while. But this is going to be one of those second party, if you would say. Sony is publishing it, but they do not own the studio developing it. So it is basically a second party game. And this has been an interesting journey to lead up to this game's release. I'll just go ahead and say right now, I am very much looking forward to it, and there was a demo that just recently released for the game. I actually went ahead and played it. I typically don't play demos. I typically just like to go into experience with absolutely no thoughts on the game so far and just sit down and play a big chunk of it. So I typically don't go into demos, but I decided to give this one a try, and I'm really glad I did, because I have to say I was thoroughly impressed by how satisfying the combat was, and I think it definitely upped my excitement, because I was excited for it because I just think the world, the characters, I think the combat, and a lot of the visuals that the game have to offer look really, really promising. I wasn't exactly sure on the story, or honestly the music I've heard. While it's nice, I do feel like it's kind of repetitive music a little bit, and while I wasn't necessarily answered on those last two concerns, I was absolutely blown away by the combat and the visuals that this game has to offer. It is very Sekiro-like, which, if you guys don't know, Sekiro is my favorite Souls game ever, and my favorite From Software game, and I do think it's very Sekiro. Now, there's been this thing ever since the game was announced, and it was originally announced as Project Eve, which has now since then changed its name to Stellar Blade. But ever since its original announcement, everyone's been comparing it to Nier, and I just don't get it. I really don't get it. Every time I hear someone comparing it to Nier, I'm like, what? Like, where are you getting, like, is it just because it's a lead female character and it's like a post-apocalyptic world? Like, if that's the case, okay, fair enough. But to me, the gameplay, the art style is not very Nier. To me, it is personally Devil May Cry Bayonetta-esque, and that's what I was going and expecting. And I can happily say I was wrong. It is very Sekiro. Now, I will say it's still Devil May Cry to me, but it is very, very Sekiro, and I absolutely love that, and I'm very much looking forward to play more of it. I think once the game and combat click with you, I think it is definitely going to be a very enjoyable game. That being said, I'm still curious where the story is going to line up with this game. It's a fascinating world and idea. I'm just really curious how they're going to make a compelling story. From what I've heard, is going to be around 25 to 30 hours. So I'm very much looking forward to see how they execute this. However, it is a very, very fun game. They have been advertising it quite a bit, and I do think this is easily going to be the biggest game that everyone has their eyes on, releasing in April, and for good reason, because it does look very, very good, and I will definitely be playing this day one. I cannot wait. But there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. There were all the games releasing in April of 2024. Like I said, there are quite a few. Some of them are pretty big, and some of them are just games that I think you should definitely keep an eye on, or that I think are going a little bit underlooked heading into the month. A couple of DLCs, a couple of ports, a couple of new games, a couple of indies, and then we got the big ones, of course. Let me know what games you're excited to play in April. For me, I'm definitely looking forward to Stellar Blade, Another Crab's Treasure, No Rest for the Wicked, and yeah, there's a lot of games to play. Tales of Kenzara also looks really, really good. But yeah, thank you all so much for watching. We'll be back in May to look at the games releasing in May, which I know there's a couple already that are looking very promising in May. But with that being said, thank you all so much for watching. If you enjoyed, definitely leave a like, leave a comment in the section down below provided, and please subscribe. And I will see you guys in the next one. G.A.M.E.R out.